Welcome back, my friends, to our PMP exam fast track. This is where we are covering top of the wave stuff that is critical for your success on the exam. In part one, we covered the people domain. This is part two. This is the 50% stake. This is where it gets real, my friends. The process domain with 50% of the exam is a monster. And the reason why it's a monster is because not only do you have the hybrid piece, which combines both agile and traditional, but you could also have a little bit of people elements sprinkled in there. Now think about it. Who does the process? It's not AI, it's people. And for that reason, the process domain is all over the place. It's got arms and legs and tentacles all over the place. But I'm going to help demystify it. Part of the confusion about the process domain is the fact that you have PMBOK 7, you have PMBOK 6, which is the spirit of PMBOK 6 is still hovering around in the process groups of practice guide. So you have two almost totally different PMBOK guides, but then you also have the Agile Practice Guide. And then you've got the Agile Manifesto, which is still relevant to the questions being written. And then you have the Scrum Guide. Talk about a potpourri of all sorts. So let's demystify this once and for all, okay? So in the process domain, we're going to be writing a lot of stuff here. In the process domain, number one, you got to understand core definitions. Okay? You got to understand what is a project, a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result, and to deliver benefits and value to the customer, resulting in a desired outcome. But then you also have what is project management. It's the application of knowledge and skills, tools and techniques to projects to get to the end goal, again, to realize those benefits and value and the desired outcome. Then you have what is program management. And it's the management of one or more projects in order to achieve a certain benefit or benefits and control that would not be available by managing them as a project. And then you have the understanding of a portfolio, a collection of projects, programs, and other work like operational work grouped together to sustain the business, to meet the strategic business objective. So you got the three P's, you need to get them down well, and you need to be able to delineate. So project management and program management is doing the work right. Portfolio management is doing the right work. So understanding that dynamic and the economies of scale when it comes to the project manager and their authority, program manager, portfolio manager, their authorities and their focus. So you got to have all those definitions down pat. So when I say core definitions, that's all the stuff I'm talking about. You also need to understand phases, logical segmentations in projects. You got to understand phase gates, also called phase end reviews or kill points. Phase gates, phase exits, phase end reviews, all same thing. But you got to understand all that terminology, and it's all buried in the PMBOK guides. You got to also understand that the PMI has a system for value creation where we have a vision that permeates into portfolios, into programs, into projects, and that's more in PMBOK 7. So understanding that philosophy and how it all adds to your perception of value and understanding how you could have a product lifecycle that consists of several different projects within the product lifecycle until the product is obsolete. All that stuff is in PMBOK 7. I actually have videos of that on YouTube. If you haven't watched the videos, watch the videos. Because this stuff is pivotal for your success on the PMP exam. Now, beyond value creation, the PMI has 12 principles talked about in the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. You got to know them. In addition to the principles, they also have 8 domains. And I've covered this several times. I'll endeavor to put some links below. Hopefully I remember. If I forget, let me know. But there's so many videos of me covering PMBOK 7. And the domains are different from knowledge areas and process groups. It's a collection of activities that the PM should do for success. Now, while you don't have to cram them, you don't have to memorize them, but you do need to understand them. And in my mind, you need to be able to speak to them as a professional. Beyond this, you have the PMBOK Guide 6th edition. And this presents to you the 5 process groups and the 10 knowledge areas. Integration, under the knowledge areas, integration, scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, communication, risk, procurement, and stakeholder. 10 knowledge areas. And 5 process groups. I prefer eating mangoes chilled. All right. For the 10 knowledge areas, the mnemonic is I saw 6 chipmunks quietly roasting coffee, reading poetry stories. Within the PMBOK 6, you have 49 processes. And these 49 processes, they are funneled into process groups, but also funneled into knowledge areas. So you need to understand the 49 processes and the general idea of where they belong. We have enough time. I'll endeavor to go through all the knowledge areas with you to demystify whatever is missing. But at a high level, integration is all about facilitating, coordinating, moving the project together in one cohesive whole. When it comes to scope, it's all about scoping out what needs to be done. Schedule is all about the timeline. Cost is all about managing the budget. Quality is all about fitness for use and conformance to requirements. Customer satisfaction and Kaizen. Resource is all about the human, equipment, material, supplies, and facilities. Communications is all about distributing information, having meetings to disseminate information, and ensuring that you're doing the right thing communication-wise. Risk is all about managing uncertainty. Procurement is all about managing the aspect of buying whatever you need from outside the firm. And stakeholder management is all about the effective collaboration and engagement of your stakeholder. So those are the 10 knowledge areas. Then you've got the 5 process groups, and you've got to be able to use your imagination and rationalize and see how all of this comes together. If you do a Google search for Phil's cheat sheet, Phill, Phil's cheat sheet, I break down the 49 processes. It's a PDF. You'll probably come up with our website, download the cheat sheet, and just go through it a few times so that you understand what is being done in each knowledge area. It maps back to that table that has the 49 processes, but in my cheat sheet, I'm breaking stuff down so that you understand it better. Okay? Now, beyond the PMBOK guide and all this stuff, you also have on the other side of the people domain, you have the Agile Practice Guide. The Agile Practice Guide is a publication from the PMI that I highly recommend you know. This is where Agile is covered in a very robust manner beyond what you'll find in the Scrum Guide. You also need to understand the Agile Manifesto, the values and the principles. I covered them in part 1 a little bit. And then you also need to understand what is in the Scrum Guide. I would recommend that because these are like the motherships, right? The Agile Practice Guide pretty much takes from here and here and many other sources and puts together what you have in the Agile Practice Guide. So the reason why the process domain for many people is hard is because it has a very dense amount of, potential topics, as well as traditional, as well as agile. And then beyond these, you have things like the understanding, general philosophies that are not explicit in here the PMI makes them a little bit more explicit. Things like the Stacy model, things like PMI's, life cycles. They have this continuum of life cycles and things like that. So you have to understand those to effectively get ready for your exam. All right. So, my friends, with that said, you got a good understanding of what you are going to face in the process domain. But that's not all. It went very quick, but that is not the only thing that we have to talk about. We have a lot more to talk about. And we're going to have to go into the belly of the beast. I'm almost half dreading it, but we're going to have to go into the belly of the beast. So, in going into the belly of the beast, this is where we get into the nitty gritty of the knowledge areas. Okay. All right. So let's begin our journey in the process domain. Okay. What you need to do for this domain, this is my advice. Okay. My advice is that you master the philosophies talked about in PMBOK 6, which is also in Process Groups of Practice Guide. Okay, so we have integration, scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, communications, risk, procurement, and stakeholder. And at the top, we have initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. Okay. So with the process domain, try as try as I would, it is just very challenging to teach the process domain without having a great framework such as what PMBOK 6 presents. Because PMBOK 6 is probably the best when it comes to breaking everything down, compartmentalizing it so that you don't get confused. So let's draw some lines across. I'm going to cover this very, very quickly. I would advise you to get a blank piece of paper, and I want you to follow along with me so you don't get lost. This is your opportunity to really follow along so that you can put some meat on the bone, those things that have been kind of troubling you as a student that you've wanted clarity on. Well, maybe this is your chance. Okay, this is your chance to get some clarity. Okay, so my friends, this in my mind is like a map. It's like a map for the process domain. You get what I'm saying? It's a map that is going to help you uh, better fine tune where you are and understanding what you need to do at every step of the way. So let's begin. The initiating process group is like the genesis of the project. That is where the project is authorized. And the very first thing you have in initiating is the development of a project charter. Now, I am going to challenge you by using abbreviations so that you can really think, what was it that he said? And it's going to help you recall what is done. Okay? So initiating is the authorization of the project. It's the identification of the stakeholders that can impact the project, okay? So the very first process we have in integration, okay, by the way, this is integration. Integration. integration, scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, communications, risk, procurement, and stakeholder. Okay. So this gives you some clarity on where we're going. All right. The very first process of integration is develop the project charter. You're going to develop a project charter that authorizes the project and gives the project manager the authority to apply resources to the project. It has high-level information like high-level schedule, high-level budget, high-level risk, high-level deliverable description, and things like that. So it's a summary document, but it puts everyone on the same page as far as what the project is going to do. The next thing we do in integration, because we're going horizontally, is we develop a project management plan that authorizes, or that takes the authority rather, and expands on the charter and gives the team their marching orders. So this is the authority, this is the plan, right? Develop project management plan. Under executing, we have direct and manage project work. This is where you're executing the plan. We also have manage project knowledge. This is where you are creating lessons learned, collating lessons learned, and so on. Then we get into monitoring and controlling. We have perform integrated change control, which is another process that we do. And then we have monitor and control project work as well. Let me put monitor and control project work first. Monitor and control project work. This is where we create work performance reports, and then we perform integrated change control, and then we close the project or the phase. Okay? So that is how integration flows. Now, here's the trick. Once you've got integration, follow me, my friends. I'm going to show you how to make it simple. There's a trick. And everything just flows after this. Once you got integration, the rest should flow quite intuitively. Under initiating, we don't have anything else here. All of these are blank until you get to stakeholder. When you get to stakeholder, this is where you identify stakeholders. So follow me. Identify stakeholders. Okay? Now that we're done with everything in initiating, I'm going to show you how you can rapidly fill this out, this table, so that you understand what is missing, what have I not accounted for. In every one of the knowledge areas, there's a formula, and the formula is plan, let me put it here, plan X management. That's the formula, plan X management. What do I mean by that? Well, if you take that cookie cutter formula and you plug it in all the way down, X is the name of the knowledge area, right? Knowledge area. See that? So you take the knowledge area name and you plug it in between plan and manage, right? Plan management. So we have plan scope management. See that? Then you just take that same cookie cutter, plan schedule management. And I'll just use abbreviations. Plan cost management, plan quality management, plan resource management, plan communications management, plan risk management, plan procurement management, and the last one, plan stakeholder we say engagement because we're planning how to keep them engaged. Did you see how easy that was? Plan X management, plan schedule, plan scope, plan schedule, plan cost, plan quality, plan resources, plan communications, plan risk, plan procurement, plan stakeholder. Boom, I just showed you a flurry of these processes, and that gives you at least a framework, a shell for you to put everything else in context. See that? Now, what I'm going to show you is the top of the waves to mastering each silo. Now we're going into the executing silo. The trick for the executing silo is to remember that there's nothing here. Nothing in scope, nothing in schedule, nothing in cost. In quality, we begin to see a similar word, M for manage. See that? So we have manage something. See that? In communications, we have manage something. See? In stakeholder, we have manage something. And over here, we have two managers as well. Is it coming together now? So in quality, we have manage quality. Communications, we have manage communications. In resource management, we have one called manage. Let me actually put it down. I'm going to put it down below because we have some other stuff that's coming. We have some stuff that's above. So let's put it here, manage team. See that? And then stakeholders, we have manage stakeholder engagement. See that? Now, when you really boil it down, you should ask yourself, okay, what am I doing? This word manage, what does it mean? Well, manage is really a leadership word, and it just means to execute whatever needs to be executed. So direct to manage project work is doing the work. Manage project knowledge is creating those lessons learned, but making sure that those are shared early. You don't want to leave those till the end of the project. Share your lessons learned periodically. Manage quality is executing the quality plan and checking the process. Manage quality is checking the process. Manage team is giving the team feedback on performance. Managed communications is the art of actually communicating, having those meetings, those exchanges at the water cooler, they're all managed communications. And then managed stakeholder engagement is managing your stakeholders' engagement by working with them and communicating with them. So there's a lot of communication at the heart of all of these processes. When you take a look, my friend, so far, we've filled in a lot of this thing just using the plan X management, right? And the manage X, where X is a variable depending on where you are. Okay? All right. The next piece we're going to work on now is the monitoring and controlling. And I'm sure you figured out the formula. There's another formula. And the formula is control X, where X is, you got it, it's a knowledge area name again. Control X. So what we're going to do here is put a bunch of controls. Control, well, let's put it down, not all the way up there. Control, see that? Control over here as well. Control over here as well. Control. Another control. Are you seeing this trend, my friends? Boom, 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 boom. 5 controls. 5. That's a whole lot, my friends. That's a really great way of you remembering how to craft this table, because I know for some of you, this table's been a nightmare. Now you're seeing how you can buy one, get 5 free. Or buy one, get 9 free. Huh? All right. So we got control, 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 control. And we've got another control over here in procurement. Can you imagine that? Control. Buy one, get 6 free. Ridiculous. So here we have control. Here we have control. Here we have control. Like these two have control in them, right? Monitor and control project work, perform integrated change control. This is control scope. Control scope, control schedule, control cost, control quality, control resources, control procurement. Wow. It's not as hard as it looks anymore, is it? Because once you follow that template, plan X management, manage X, control X, a lot of folks, they don't bother about this table, but I'm telling you, if you're able to get this table down, they'll never be able to play tricks on you. You will be all over it because you're going to know this is what they're talking about. This is the process group they're in. I couldn't be doing this because I've already done it. I couldn't be doing that because it comes too further down. By the time you have this table, it becomes an easy roadmap for you. Very easy. All right. So what else do we have? We've dealt with all the controls, but there's one more. The last one for the monitor and controlling process group, you see we got monitor and control. There's 3 of them that we use the word monitor for. So we have monitor, knowledge area name communications, right? We have monitor, knowledge area name is risk, and then we have monitor, again, knowledge area name, stakeholder engagement. So we have monitor communications, right? Monitor risk, because you cannot control risk. And then we have monitor stakeholder engagement. See that? Boom! Easy peasy lemon squeezy. That is pretty much all of those in monitoring and controlling. By now, you already know that you got the 2, 25, 10, 12, 1. So if you do the addition, you're going to find that we're very close, right? 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. We done 30 out of 49. So we only have a few left. Are you ready for the few that we got left? All right. So let's go through these horizontally to kind of close what we've been doing. Okay. The easiest one to handle right now is executing. And we're going to find, we just got 2 places left and then we're done with it. Okay. So here, instead of it being called manage anything, this is risk. We have implement risk responses. Okay. And I know a lot of folks are like, well, I don't want to have this table. My friends, I've had this table in my head for years. But you know what it does for me when I'm training, coaching? If you're very enthusiastic about training, coaching, mentoring, building people, building teams, building PMOs, you got to have a solid framework and you got to know the framework. I want to have to be opening a book, running to a book to know this stuff. I needed to be here. It's project management professional. That is why I'm not very impressed when every PMBOK we're trying to change what already existed. Just have one framework, run with it all the way to the end zone. And that's exactly what I've been doing, helping companies. And a lot of companies are built on this framework, this model. And when they're tailoring, they know what they're doing. Anyway, enough said. Going over to procurement, we have conduct procurement. Okay. And my friends, we are almost done, almost. So under resource management, we have acquire resources, and then we have develop team, okay? They spell ADM when you look at them like that. That's a trick I always used to remember what's missing. So I think we're done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, we're done. So that's 2, 25, 10, 2, 24, 10, 12, 1, I believe. 24. Okay. So we're done with initiating. We are done with executing. We are done with closing. Wow. 3 out of 5. We ain't done badly at all. So the next one that's very easy to finish off is monitoring and controlling, because we've only got 2 or 1. We've only got 1. Yeah. So what is missing here is a very important one, and that is validate scope. And that's where your customer is going to inspect the deliverable. So you got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Boom! Slam dunk. We got 4 out of 5 done. 4 out of 5. You see how easy that was? Wow. Wow. Well, I hope you're enjoying it, my friends. Do smash that like button if you are. Subscribe to the channel. And if you are a PMP, remember we've got the Project Leadership Institute channel where we feature a whole boatload of other stuff. For those of you who are PMPs, we talk about program management, we talk about career. So go to @Project Leadership Institute and you can find that on YouTube. All right, my friends, let's get this thing done once and for all. So under scope, we have plan scope management, and then we have collect requirements, we have define scope, and we have create WBS. Okay, WBS, work breakdown structure. Create work breakdown structure. Under schedule, we have define activities, sequence activities, estimate activity durations, and develop schedule. So there's 6 in schedule, but 5 of them are in planning. That's wild, isn't it? Under cost, we have, after plan cost management, we have estimate cost, and then we have determine budget. Quality just has 1, resource just has 1, communications has 1, and risk, oh my goodness, we have 4 more to do. But they're quite straightforward. So after you plan risk management, you have identify risk, and then you have perform qualitative risk analysis, okay? And then you have perform quantitative risk analysis, and then you have plan risk responses. And that, my friend, seems to be it. Resources, 1 more. Under resources, we have plan resource management, and then we have estimate activity resources, EAR, like here. Let's count on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So 2, so get the math. 2, 24, 10, 12, and 1. 26, 36, 48, 49. Boom. Done and dusted. So let's go through them mentally, right? Integration is the putting together of the big plan, ensuring that everything that we're doing under integration has it well integrated up top. Scope, planning the schedule, planning the scope management, beg your pardon, how to manage scope, collecting the requirements, defining the scope, which is creating your project scope statement, creating your WBS, the customer validating the scope, which is signing off on the deliverable. Control scope is you preventing gold plating, dealing with gold plating. Schedule management, we plan how to manage the schedule, we define the activities, we list them out, we sequence the activities, this is where we have network diagrams, we estimate the activity duration, how long will it take, and then you put it all together and boom, you got your schedule. Control schedule is where you are ensuring that you're staying on track. Cost management, we plan how to manage the cost. We estimate how much money do we need for each task, and then we roll it up into a final total that's determined budget. And then control cost is managing the budget. This is where we talk about things like earned value, EAC, CPI, all that stuff. Quality management, we plan how to manage quality. Then we manage quality, which is checking the process. We control quality, checking the product. We get into resource management. I don't know if you've noticed that there's nothing in all of these initiating buckets, right? Except for the top and the bottom, so that's easy to remember. Plan resource management, estimate the activity resources, acquire the resources, develop the team through training and team building. And when we say acquire resources, we're talking about people, human, equipment, material, supplies, and facilities. Develop team is coaching them, mentoring them, training them, getting them ready for the project and helping them all through to maintain skills needed. Manage team is giving feedback on performance individually and to the team. Control resources is specifically for the physical. Don't forget, this is not for the human, this is just for the physical resources. Communications management, we plan what we're going to communicate, then we do it, we communicate, then we monitor how well is our communication going, the customer happy, what do we need to tweak to optimize our communication. Then we get into risk. So we plan risk management, we identify risk, we perform qualitative risk analysis, which is, a high, medium, low approach. We perform quantitative risk analysis, we plan risk responses, we carry out the risk responses, and we monitor the risk. For procurement, we plan our procurement management. We decide, are we going to make or buy what we need? If you decide to buy something, then we conduct the procurement. And when the contract is signed, when you select a vendor, then you control the procurements. Stakeholder management, we identify our stakeholders. We plan how to engage our stakeholders. We then manage our stakeholder engagement by communicating with them and working with them, and then monitor stakeholder engagement, which means we're monitoring how well that is going. And boom, my friends, that is 49 processes. That's a lot. And when you understand this, you can then look at the PMP exam content outline and say, now I understand what PMI is saying when they say manage stakeholder in this task, do this in this task, do that in that task. Okay? I hope this gives you a very clear idea of what is needed for your PMP exam as far as the more traditional flow of things. When we come back, we're going to go into the world of Agile. We're going to break it down the same way. We're going to go into the philosophies, into Scrum, at least at a medium level, and then we'll get into our business domain. So let's take a break. I'll see you in part 2.